All right, so tomorrow we're going to focus on vertex form and standard form. The focus will be on finding our vertex, finding the AOS, and describing their transformations. So you need to tell me what A does, what H does, and what K does. The domain of all quadratics is always all reals. So if I ask you for the domain, it's always all reals. The range is either going to be negative infinity to the K value, including K, or from the K value to positive infinity. So your range is always going to include the K value and an infinity. In standard form, our vertex is negative b over 2a, and then k, where you find k by plugging negative b divided by 2a in for x. The y-intercept is 0c. The roots or solutions occur where the function crosses the x-axis. This is when the y value is 0. When we are graphing, you need to have 5 points on your graph, and you can use the table concept of x plus h, y a plus k to find 3 of those points, and then use symmetry to graph the other 2. Congratulations, you passed your permit test, right?
Oh, you're bad.
Okay? Alrighty.
If not, well, yeah, everything should be. I just can't do triple check.
Okay. So let's look at a couple examples then. So we have f of x equals x squared minus 8x plus 15. So what we're going to do is use our equation to find h and k. So go ahead and do that now. Find h and k. Okay, so we get that our h value is 4, our k value is negative 1, which means that my vertex is 4, negative 1. So it says to find the y-intercept. So my y-intercept is 0, 15, because it's the c value. The equation of the AOS. So the AOS is always x equals h. So h is 4. The vertex is h comma k. So 4, negative 1. Make a table of values that includes the vertex. So that's x plus h. So x plus 4. Y-A, which is 1, plus K, which is negative 1. So my values go 4, 5, 6, 7. And then negative 1, because 0 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. And then 4 minus 1 is 3. and then 9 minus 1, which is 8. So we'll plot our points. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. It goes up 1 and right 1. I can see already that I have a root at x equals 5. And my other roots are at x equals 3. And then we have the point 6, 3, which means I also have the point 2, 3. And then I have the point 7, 8, as well as the point 1, 8. If I asked you to put the transformations into words, this graph is shifted right 4 and down 1. The domain is all reals, and the range is from -1 to infinity. Okay, if we look at number 3, because again, I know we don't like fractions, number 3 should give me a vertex that involves a fraction. So we'll get another fraction practice in there. So my h value is -b divided by 2a. So that gives me 2 over 4. Which gives me 1/2. So I get 2. 1/2 squared is a 4th minus 2 times 1/2 plus 1. So 2 times 1/2 gives me a 1. 2 times a 4th gives me 1/2. So this is 1/2 minus 1 plus 1. So my positive and negative ones cancel, which means that my vertex is at 1/2, 1/2. And then that means that this graph, if I look at my transformations, is going to have a y-intercept of 0, 1. So I know it's going to go through the point 0, 1. It's going to go through the point 1/2, 1/2. It's a positive a value, which means that I have a min at 1/2. It's shifted right 1/2 and up 1/2. If this point's up 1/2 and right 1/2, we also have another point up 1/2 and right 1/2. So my graph also contains the point 1, 1. Or I could use my table and do x plus 1/2, y times 2 plus 1/2. Which means my x's would go by 1. So it'd be 1/2, 3, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. This would be 1/2. Plugging in 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 plus 1/2 would give me 2.5. The next it goes 0, 1, 4. So you plug in 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So that'd be 8.5. And then 9. 9 times 2 is 18. So in terms of graphing my points, I'd be at 1.5 and 2.5, which means I'm also going to go 1 unit to the right. So you go 1 unit to the right, and then up to 2.5. And then this is at 2.5, 8.5. So if you go all the way up, that's over 2 from the axis of symmetry. So this is over 2. Oh man, no internet. Okay. Pause. Okay. So again, you're just plotting those points. What I want you to notice is that this graph never crosses the x-axis. Therefore, this graph has no roots. The domain is all reals, and the range is 1/2 to infinity. Questions, comments, concerns, issues? Are we feeling more confident? I know you kept saying it was the fractions, the fractions, the fractions. These are the types of fractions I would want us to know. Okay, we haven't looked at, because we've been so stuck on graphing, we haven't looked at a word problem in a while. So what I want you to do is, most of you are paired off anyways. So like Evan, Elijah, read the word problem, start that. Lucas, Addison, Alex, Ava, and then Avery and Emily, and then we'll do Keegan, Molly, Alicia. So kind of in your rows. Just read the word problem real quick, set it up, and then compare what you get for H and K with your partner. So read it independently, find your H and K, and then compare it with your partner. 10. Alright, so for the problem, it asks you to find the maximum height reached by the ball and the time that that height is reached. If you think about the actuality of this problem, it says that she's standing 4 feet above a swimming pool and throws a ball. So if she is standing 4 feet above the swimming pool, it's kind of like she's on a little diving board and she throws her ball. So if you think about the pathway of the ball, it's going to go up and then come down and land. So it says find the max height reached by the ball. Well, if you think about everything we've been talking about, a maximum or a minimum of a quadratic occurs at the vertex. So if you wanted to find the max height of the ball and the time it occurred, you would find the time, because t is my x variable, that the max height occurs. So we started by finding the h value of the vertex. So what this means is that at t equals 1 second, so after she throws the ball, 1 second later, the ball will reach its max height. The max height, or my units, feet, is 20 feet, because that is the y value, or my k value. So again, when we talk about maximums and minimums, where do I tell you the max and mins occur? At the vertex is k. So after 1 second, the max height will be reached. The max height is 20 feet. If I ask you the time the ball hit the ground, at what time would this ball hit the ground? What's another word for the time the ball hit the ground?
The zero.
The zero, or the root. So if you think about it, the ball will hit the ground when it gets back to the horizontal. If it hits that horizontal, that's like the x-intercept. So in terms of this problem, the ball would hit the ground when negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 4 is equal to 0. What do you know about 16, 32, and 4? Yeah. So you could make this a little easier to factor by dividing everything by 4. Or we could make a table and see in the table where it hits. I'm not sure it's factorable. I didn't try to solve it. This was not a, because this is from 5-1, so it was pre-solving. I'm just kind of throwing out questions that would be fair questions and a word problem that we should know, just being able to interpret everything we do. I divided it with negative 16. I blocked negative 4. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. It would have to be negative 6. Or an 8. 32 times 4 is still. What? That's a 16. The 4 just connects my lines. All right. Any other questions you would have looking at that handout or any past handouts? What I'll do is send you like the answers to these 2 pages. That way in case anybody wants to study or check, you have them. You can always go to Delta Math. Like, even if I don't give you Delta Math assignments, you can always go to Delta Math, which gives you instant feedback as well as solutions, as well as videos. There's also always Khan Academy. So, they're my 2 biggest resources. If you run into an issue or a question outside of school or outside of me being able to help you.
So is it just on this stuff with making the table and then dropping on this page and then what we did
Yes.
last time?
Yes. So last night's homework. So the big ideas or the big concepts are rewriting in Vertex Form, given 2 points, or given standard form. Finding the roots from a table. Graphing and getting me all the key information and graphing Vertex or standard form. And then a word problem. And like the key information is kind of everything I did on the two graphing examples here. Y-intercept, axis of symmetry, vertex, domain, range, transformations, and roots. Just trying to remember like the